Talks between the US and Ukrainian presidents have been cut short after an extraordinary verbal clash in Washington. Donald Trump accused Volodymyr Zelensky of being disrespectful and ungrateful before kicking him out of the White House. The blow-up between the two leaders is creating further uncertainty over peace negotiations.
What started out as a fairly cordial meeting became openly hostile inside the Oval Office.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now,
Volodymyr Zelensky had been pushing Donald Trump to provide security guarantees as part of a critical minerals deal, urging the US president not to trust Russia's leader, Vladimir Putin, to honour a peace agreement.
You have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
The Ukrainian ambassador to Washington becoming visibly emotional as tensions in the room escalated.
You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful.
With a lunch and a joint press conference hastily cancelled, Mr Zelensky was told to leave the White House. Donald Trump arguing he could return when he's ready for peace.
I would say it didn't work out exactly great from his standpoint. I think he very much overplayed his hand.
This was such a high-stakes moment for Volodymyr Zelensky, what was supposed to be a significant step towards improving his relationship with the Trump White House, instead resulting in a spectacular breakdown. The Ukrainian president insisted he was thankful for America's support, but refused to back down on his key demand.
We are ready for peace, but we have to be in strong position. What does it mean? Just to know that our army is strong, that our partners with us, and that we have security guarantees.
The Prime Minister has joined European leaders in reiterating Australia's support for Ukraine.
We will continue to stand with Ukraine for as long as it takes, because this is the struggle of a democratic nation versus an authoritarian regime.
But in the US, reaction was largely split down party lines.
What you watched was American power being destroyed in the world as everybody watches President Trump become a lapdog for a brutal dictator in Moscow.
What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again.
As Donald Trump spends the weekend in Florida, the future of the minerals deal remains uncertain. So too the status of a relationship that has so far kept Ukraine in the fight. Jade McMillan, ABC News, Washington.
Well, from Washington, President Zelensky will fly to London to meet with European leaders, and he'll be hoping for practical shows of support and unity. North America correspondent Carrington Clark has more.
Donald Trump might have described it as good TV, but it's a terrible day for the relationship between the United States and Ukraine. What occurred in the Oval Office today was historic. The room may have seen its share of heated arguments over the years, but never between the leaders of two supposedly friendly countries in front of the world's media. There were tensions heading into the meeting after Donald Trump publicly denigrated President Zelensky as a dictator. But even still, the expectation was that the norms of diplomacy would be respected. Instead, Trump critics will say that the United States ambushed President Zelensky. Critics of President Zelensky will say that his repeated corrections of his American hosts were rude. But however the blame is assigned, the only winner out of today's blow-up is Russia's leader, Vladimir Putin. Ukraine's defence against Russia has rested in large part on American assistance. And now Donald Trump won't even publicly pick a side. The words of support from European leaders for Ukraine will be welcome, but what Ukraine really needs is material support, particularly heavy weaponry. If America no longer has Ukraine's back, then Europe must decide if it will step into the breach.